Hello everybody, Josh12 back here again with another video, and I'm here with another top 5 list. Yes, it's that time of the week again, so let's get into this week's top 5 list. Now, of course, I know I've been doing a lot of Dragon Ball Z top 5s as of late, mostly due to the fact that I've been wanting to do a lot more Dragon Ball centric videos on my channel. But with that being said, I am going to take a break off the Dragon Ball Z top 5s and get back into some more comic booky stuff. With that being said, this is a more personal list, and it's specifically my top 5 guilty pleasure comic book movies. Yes, these are the guilty pleasure films within the comic book and or superhero genre that suck ass, but I like and kind of watched from time to time. Now, for those of you who don't know what guilty pleasure means, it's basically a movie, TV show, band, piece of music, I don't know, food, place, mall, I don't know, but a specific thing that you enjoy from time to time, despite the fact that it's generally held as a gigantic piece of shit and everyone hates it. Maybe you even know it sucks. Maybe you know it freaking is a pile of crap. However, for some god-awful reason, you kinda like it from time to time, and whenever it's around, you listen to it, you watch it, and you kinda enjoy it deep down inside. And that's basically what guilty pleasure means, and this is, of course, the comic book movies that suck ass, that I know they suck ass, but for some reason, I can't help but want to watch some of it. And, I might not change the channel, and I actually might stick around, and, watch maybe the whole thing. I don't know, but let's see what happens with that front. But at the end of the day, that is pretty much what guilty pleasure is all about, and these are movies within the comic book genre that are guilty pleasures of mine. So, of course, a lot like most lists, but this specifically is a more personal list. But as always, they are subjective. It is my personal thoughts. But at the end of the day, please comment below and let me know what your personal top 5 guilty pleasure comic book movies are. But with that being said, hopefully no one trashes me for the list I'm about to put. But it is a personal list, so keep that in mind. But with that being said, let's get into this top 5 list. Coming at number 5 has to go to Ghost Rider. Yes, I know, it's a giant hunk of shit. Nicolas Cage in comic book movies, he needs to stop. Unless it's Kick-Ass, because that was pretty much the only thing that he did that was really awesome within the comic book genre. And, of course, not being Superman. But with that being said, Ghost Rider is not a good superhero movie. It's not. It's definitely in that dark age where Marvel was still trying to find itself before Marvel Studios became a thing. But for some reason, I don't know why, but I get some form of pleasure seeing that movie. I don't know. I just do. It's a weird thing. Nicolas Cage is just a gigantic wackadoo, as always, and you got him transforming into this fiery demon-like freaking skeleton riding a motorcycle. It kicked ass. I don't know why, but ever since it came out to now, whenever I see him just kick ass and he's riding a fucking skyscraper, which doesn't make any sense, but he's just kicking ass and driving super fast. I don't know why, but I like it. I can't help but like it. It's just really cool, and it's stupid, and it's cheesy, and I know it's a giant piece of crap of a movie, and the sequel is no better, although I will admit I kind of like the visual style that they were going for in the sequel. But at the end of the day, it is a giant piece of shit, but I guiltily have pleasure watching it. I don't know why. But with that being said, and moving off of that, going to number 4 on this list has to go to The Spirit. Yes, The Spirit was, of course, a giant dumpster of shit, and, of course, the first directorial debut for Frank Miller outside of Sin City. And for me personally, Frank Miller will always be comic book god. He is the shit. He has created some of the best works within, many multiple characters that I love, like freaking Batman. But at the end of the day, him as a director obviously was not a gigantic fit unless it was Sin City. And taking that element of what he did with that film with Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino, he brought it over for The Spirit. And it obviously did not work on a very biblical fucking standard, and it was a giant flop. However, the first time I saw it, even till now, knowing it's not a great film and knowing it was not the greatest, I guess, fit or start for Frank Miller as a solo director outside of, help with Robert Rodriguez, I like it for some reason. I don't know. Sam Jackson, he's so fucking hamming it up, and it's fun and it's stupid. You got those other dudes doing something. You got fucking Ava Mendes doing something. You got a whole bunch of people doing a lot of shit in a lot of CGI green screen. And for some reason, I just like it. I don't know why. I guess because it has that Sin City movie element, and it has that Frank Miller touch, even though it's not meant for that type of property. That was the spirit, but at the end of the day, I like it for some reason, and when I see it, I'm just like, yeah, it's a giant crapper, but I like it, and I kind of enjoy watching it, kinda, sometimes. Keep that in mind, sometimes. And I also feel like Frank Miller should get more work as a director. Even though this was not the greatest fit for him, I wish he would go off and do some more things. Like, come on, let him direct an episode of Daredevil. Come on. I mean, like, if Daredevil is going to continue to take inspiration from his work on Daredevil, why not let him direct an episode? That's all I'm going to say. But moving off of that, going to number 3 on this list has to go to Spawn. Now, Spawn was, of course, the first ever rendition of live action Spawn, and for me, back in the day, McFarlane was the shit. He fucking killed it with his stuff. I loved his action figures and toys. I'm not really big on the sports stuff or the Walking Dead stuff, but back in the day, Spawn was the shit. You cannot love Spawn back in the 90s. You just can't. You had to love Spawn. It was the shit. And when they made a movie on it, the Spawn movie is a very specific thing that I just love. I don't know why. I know it was made at a specific time where, you know, superhero movies did not have the attention that it does now with both TV shows and movies, and it was generally a big missed opportunity, especially with the time it didn't really have the great special effects that it could have had or the budgets. But at the end of the day, I just really enjoy Spawn. It's just such a great thing that I loved back in the day to now, and the transitions and the music and, you know, freaking just Spawn kicking ass, and the clown, the evil clown, was just awesome. I know a lot of people hated John's performance in that and still do, you know, hold a grudge with him for a lot of his roles in movies, but I always enjoyed him in that film, and I just really have a good time watching it. It's definitely a guilty pleasure, maybe not as much as other films on this list, but I know McFarlane has been trying hard to fucking reboot this franchise, but this was definitely, you know, a missed opportunity film, and definitely if it was made today with the same kind of, I guess, story beats, it would be freaking phenomenal, especially with the money and special effects and, you know, creative people that are working in the industry today in comparison to back then. But it's just freaking awesome still. I mean, it's still freaking great. The fucking Martin Sheen's in there doing something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something. It's freaking awesome. But with that being said, moving off of that, going to number 2 on this list, has to go to Daredevil. Yes, Daredevil. Before Marvel killed it on the Netflix show of Daredevil, Marvel's Daredevil, with season 1 and season 2, which are freaking phenomenal. Go to my channel and check it out. I've reviewed both seasons. But with that being said, before that came out, we had a Ben Affleck starred Daredevil movie, and it wasn't great. It wasn't phenomenal, but it wasn't a hunk of shit. And definitely, once again, like a lot of movies in this list, this is pre-MCU. This is before Marvel Studios was a thing. This is before the superhero genre really blew up and became a legitimate genre. And this is just one of those many multiple Marvel films, or just superhero movies in general, that were just missed opportunities and just missed, you know, creatively. And Daredevil is a very special thing because there's a lot of things in that film that are done right, but then there's a lot of things that are not done right, like Elektra or Kingpin, or, you know, the representation of, you know, Matt Murdock's powers or something like that. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way things were going at the time, or the way, you know, the director was really attached to the project and was really attacking it, and it was just a lot of real crazy stuff at the time. But at the end of the day, Daredevil, there's just something about it that I really like. Ben Affleck's performance is awesome. It's kind of like the Batman v It's kind of like Ben Affleck has a comic book curse. It's like he's awesome in these movies, but the shit that's surrounding him just sucks ass. A lot like BVS. Granted, you could make the argument, you know, as to which one's better or what have you, but I kind of see them both as quality-wise kind of the same. It's just like Ben Affleck's the best part of the movie, and everything else is kind of meh. And that's what I have to say with Daredevil. I mean, a lot of things that go on in this movie really suck. The action is really not really up there. Elektra was obviously done wrong. Kingpin wasn't as great as he is in the Netflix show with Vincent D'Onofrio freaking killing it. But Ben Affleck's awesome, and the action is somewhat decent. Colin Farrell as freaking Bullseye is definitely very entertaining, although he should have wore a mask. But at the end of the day, Daredevil is not the greatest comic book movie. It's definitely on a lot of people's list of worst comic book movies, but for me, it's on my list of guilty pleasure comic book movies. I somehow, for some reason, enjoy it from time to time, and Ben Affleck kicks ass in it. A lot like how he kicks ass in BVS, even though that one is, a lot would argue, is a pile of shit. But with that being said, I'm going to skip the honorable mentions for this list. I've been talking far too long, and plus I don't want to continue to destroy my state in this comic book fan base by naming a bunch of movies that I actually enjoy watching. So I'm going to top this fucker off with a big shitter that is a guilty pleasure. And that is, of course, number one on this list, Batman Forever. Yes, I said it, Batman Forever. It is a giant piece of shit. It is definitely the dawn or the beginning of the death of the Batman franchise until Chris Nolan brought it back with his Dark Knight trilogy. However, Schumacher, my God, he fucked up. He did. But Batman Forever, I have a guilty pleasure with it. That was the movie, this is the sad part, but when I was a kid, we had to deal with these fucking movies. It's not like today where kids are like, yeah, Spider-Man and Cap and Iron Man, Civil War, yeah. I didn't fucking have that. I had Batman Forever. That was my Batman. That was my fucking cinematic universe at the time when I was growing up. So that's what I had to deal with at the time. But because I had to deal with it at the time, I had to deal to love it. And I did. A lot. And I fucking still kind of do to a certain point in time. Even though I will bash it whenever I get a chance, and even though as a grown adult I do have a different perspective on the movie, I do somehow, for some god-awful reason, have specific things about the movie I like. Val Kilmer is a pretty good Batman. There's a lot of real interesting visuals and colorful crap. Riddler, granted it was all Jim Carrey, but Jim Carrey was big at the time, and he was one of my heroes. Tommy Lee Jones, he was doing something. There was some, beautiful women in there. Nicole Kidman was in a Batman movie. Hell, we love to see that happen again one day. It's just a wacky good time, and it's Jon Favreau's cameos in that movie. Before he became the guy who created the MCU, he was in a Batman movie. Come on, guys. At the end of the day, Batman Forever is a steaming pile, but for some reason, it's definitely on the top list of guilty pleasures for me personally. And I do have some enjoyment from time to time, whether I'm bashing it or just strictly just enjoying it from time to time. But at the end of the day, that is my list. It is, personal. It is subjective, and I hope I didn't destroy my personal thoughts on more future freaking comic book movies and superhero films with this kind of list. But I had to be honest with guilty pleasures that I somehow enjoy from time to time. But with that being said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed. And of course, comment below and let me know what your personal list is of the top 5 guilty pleasure comic book movies. These are movies that suck ass and are, worldly hated and generally suck. But for some reason, I have guilty pleasures watching it occasionally. Occasionally is a key word because I don't watch them all the time, so I want that to be a key word to keep in mind. But let me know what your personal list is. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JohnSk12. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been JohnSk12.